What's up and welcome to the Boys of Fall. If that intro doesn't have your like little high school football vibes, you know, going back to the day, that's when the movie came out for me, aging me a little bit, I suppose. But that is Ty with the audio, me with the fancy look. Hopefully it looks good. You'll have to drop it and let us know in the chat. But I got Ty here. Ty, I think you were probably as excited, if not more excited, that college football is finally back tomorrow.
I'm not even gonna be able to sleep tonight. I mean, I feel like a 7-year-old with Christmas coming up tomorrow. No way I'm going to be able to sleep. I told my wife I'm unavailable. I'm going to be doing a 15-plus hour stream tomorrow, just from noon, actually from 9 a.m. to like 3 in the morning. I'm going to be, just obsessed. College game days on.
There you go.
It gets no better. There's a chill in the air. I wore a hoodie today. There's a chill
this morning.
Yeah, yep. It feels like football weather. It's time.
Right.
Time. It's here.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So first off, before we start getting into it, I'll be I suppose the main voice for a second, but obviously Ty's co-hosting with me here, co-host and co-host. We are live on Twitter, live on YouTube as well. So I can pull up comments just like Leroy here, just like DeMario here. If you're on Twitter, I can pull those comments up as well if you comment within the broadcast. However, it's a little easier if you just come over to YouTube, because then you can talk with everybody else. You guys can talk amongst yourself instead of being on a different platform that people aren't, communicating as much. If you are seeing it from Twitter or you follow either one of us, do me a favor and retweet it, so we can try to get some more people in here. I'd imagine the beginning show, we won't get as many eyes, but as we continue to progress and hopefully turn into week 2 and 3, this becomes a usual thing for us. Ty, let's I say we go ahead and just kick her off here. The first game, and then also too, before we do, those of you, like I said, that are in the comments, go ahead and drop questions, right? Do we like this? Do we like that? A friendly reminder before we get into it: if this is your first year betting college football, unfortunately, not every state is created equal. The state that Ty happens to live in does not have college props available to him. I do have college props available to me. However, I can't bet on them live, but I'm not really worried about that because I don't like to bet on live props. So I'm even come to find out some states aren't allowing team totals even. So unfortunately, you kind of have to learn that. And then if you're in the Discord, there's a plethora of information and different styles in there, and there's a lot of different ways to kind of pick up on that stuff. So super, super exciting. And then very lastly, to plug the Discord, I'm going to run something across the bottom here. I'll have some banners for you, but we got a couple of codes here. I got the link in the description. Got a 2-week, the month. I mean, me and Ty collectively put up like almost 7 units in preseason football yesterday. We have people saying that they paid their mortgage already. People are up $800 or whatever. A lot of cool interaction there, but without further ado, you're not here to, it's been 3 minutes and 50 seconds. We're just talking. First game, Ty, Florida State, Georgia State. Fantastic game last year as Notre Dame was there in Ireland. I thought that was really special. Now, I don't think it's as special. Georgia Tech kind of similar colors. Georgia Tech's got the cool helmet, right? They have like I don't even know what
the Celtic. The Celtic.
Yeah, there you go. So that's pretty neat. But we have a spread, Florida State minus 11.5, 10.5 on DraftKings, it looks like. So it's kind of moving all over the place. Ty, how do you want to do it? Do you want to just hop into what you're...
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to start with this one because I'm super passionate about this game. Let me tell you a little something, all right? Florida State, chip on their shoulder. They got left out the college playoff last year. They're hungry, right? They're hungry. They're coming back. DJ Uiagalelei. None of that means shit to me, all right? None of it means shit to me, okay? I'm riding Georgia Tech plus 11.5. That's exactly what I'm doing, all right? Here's why, all right? The returning production. Georgia Tech's offense is returning the 7th highest percentage of offensive players in the entire country. All right. We know Florida State's going to be good defensively. We know that. They're going to be sound, okay? But King Haynes is going to have the ability to tear up this Florida State defense. Now, he's had issues last year with turnovers and things like that. So he has to be able to take care of the ball. If he's unable to take care of the ball, then I think that's when Georgia Tech can get into some problems. But with it being in Ireland, I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. Lots of running around. I don't think we're going to see. I saw a report that there's supposed to be like 15 to 25 mile per hour winds. Good chance of a little bit of rain. I'm taking Georgia Tech with the points. I'm waiting, though. We've talked about this. I'm waiting on it. Waiting to see if we can get this to 12.5. Maybe the public helps us out. We get up to 12.5. It'd be a miracle if we get up to 13.5 again. But we missed that number. And I'm also sprinkling the money line. Plus 385, taking that all day. If I expect them to be in this in a 10-point game, I'm expecting them to have an opportunity at the end to walk away with a W.
There you go. That's the best way to do it, really. I mean, if you're taking a dog, I mean, you're rooting for them to win. I mean, you're kicking yourself if you're like, man, I should have took him out. Right. So I mean, that's a good practice. It just popped in my head too. Even, I mean, DraftKings has that 100% boost. I don't know if you had it on yours. I mean, you could even buy it up to 14.5. That might be, and it's still going to get you probably plus money. Probably not a bad look there. If we, for those of you that are looking for a way to utilize those boosts that are out there. But yeah, I think I'm definitely on the same side. I think, look, it's one of these things where it's like the first game. I mean, anything can happen. I'm certainly on I think Florida State wins, but not by a lot kind of train. Georgia Tech, I mean, Haynes King is super electric. I mean, the guy's going to be running all over the place. Shout out or a reminder, this is going to be, I think, it feels like the first real game, and we got a mobile quarterback. A reminder that sacks count as negative rush yards in, statistics for college. So the Florida State does have a pretty good, pass rush. Obviously, Verse isn't there anymore, but, they brought some guys over, I think from Bama, if I'm not mistaken. They got an edge rusher from Bama. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really good look. Ty doesn't have props available, but I think that, Haynes King rush yards is sitting at, like, depending on what book you're at, it's like 37 up to I've seen it like 45, and that's college props usually has a big discrepancy like that. But I think Haynes King to rush, I think is going to be a really solid look there. And then Ty, you had a heck of a nugget that you mentioned. Would you want to share it on here, or was that?
So this is DJ's third offense in 3 years, right? We know that, but he's played two neutral sites over his career. He's thrown 75 passes with 0 touchdowns at neutral sites, which is, that's DJ you all the way.
Yeah.
Like, he'll throw the ball a lot, but it won't go anywhere.
Right. And I mean, and he's a pretty, if you wanted to sprinkle, he's a pretty big bodied guy too. So like, an anytime touchdown on his side might not be bad if they're struggling to kind of get the ball in the air, like Ty mentioned, like it is, I feel like Ireland just an overly like rainy, like wet place. And last year that field was kind of rough. So I certainly do think I see a lot of running in the game. So you hate playing under on the first game, but that's probably a pretty good look. Mm-hmm. I will say too, I mean, like thinking about it, like, next week's going to be like entirely different. There's 4 games, so we can talk about the 4 games to kind of spend some time on it, where ideally this is a 30-minute, podcast, at least today. I don't know what the goal would be in the future. I doubt we're going to be sitting here for an hour. I mean, I don't know what the plan is, but when we have 80 some games, I'm sure we're going to have to come with, a list of like, what's your next favorite play? What's your next favorite play? You got to play. This is the game of the week. It's Ohio State and Georgia playing. It's something like that, so we'll certainly do a better job of breaking it down, but with it being a smaller slate, we'll just, go from there. I have to say, like, we have to talk about this for a second. I think that's tied on the screen here. I paid for this guy's honeymoon. I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad to, I feel like I'm sure you've probably told me at some point if you've been rocking with me for a while, but that is, ladies and gentlemen, why we do it. I think that's pretty awesome. I appreciate you for sharing. Montana State versus New Mexico. And a reminder, if you guys have any additional questions, I will say actually real quick, I noticed that Florida State and Georgia Tech had the game specials, and I haven't seen anything else. But where you could bet like a pass touchdown to be scored in any on every single quarter to be a pass touchdown, every single quarter to be a rush touchdown. I feel that the rush touchdown is probably going to be a pretty good look. It is sitting at, of course, it's taking a second here. Plus 450 for a rush touchdown to be scored in each quarter. Georgia State, I don't think we mentioned, just a horrendous rush defense last year. I think Florida State's going to lean on the run a lot, especially with the new quarterback in there. And then you have a guy like Haynes King, and then you have whatever the running back's name is also Haynes or King. It's kind of confusing. They have like almost the same name. But I think that's going to be a pretty good look. So, Ty, anything else? Or you want to move on?
You said what? You're like cutting out.
Anything else on that game, or are you going to move on?
Oh, no. Yeah, we can move on. I feel good about the under. I like Georgia Tech. Just waiting to see if I'm getting a little greedy, seeing how far that number can move back up.
Yeah, you're not going to move much. I mean, it's not going to go under 10.5, I don't think, and that's a pretty big number there, or key number.
I'm just looking to like 12.5 again. But next up, Montana State versus New Mexico, the FCS FBS matchup, and I think we're probably on different sides here.
Yeah, I think we are a little bit, but that's all right. That's good competitiveness. So, because I think I love Montana State. I think I love it.
Yeah.
But I respect. I'll tell you what. I like them, but I don't like the 13.5. I like them to win the game. I like them to have a potential to cover like an alternate line. But I respect the plus 13.5. I think that New Mexico. I mean, you got to respect the FBS team versus the FCS team, I think.
Right.
But tell us about New Mexico, I guess.
Okay, so I'm having a tough time with this game. Like, I understand how good Montana State is. I understand that they are going to be, competing for a national championship down there with the North Dakota States and the South Dakota States, and I get all that. And I also understand that, New Mexico's bad, okay? But the reason why I'm having a tough time thinking Montana State's going to cover this 12.5, which it's surprising me that it just continues to come. Like, it opened up at -2.5, I think, and now it's sitting at -12.5, which is crazy. You got Bronco Mendenhall, who's the head coach. 13.5 now. Okay. You got Bronco Mendenhall, who's the head coach there. He was the head coach at Virginia Tech from like 2016 to 2021. And the only time that Virginia Tech wasn't bowl eligible there when he was there was his first year. So I have to think that he is bringing a different caliber than of like coaching and maybe, just like culture to this New Mexico program. But is he able to make a difference within the amount of time? And secondly, does he even have the athletes to do it? Because yeah, I mean, I would have to, unfortunately, like, I think I'm going to take New Mexico plus 13.5. I feel like I'm getting too many points also, we're talking about a home dog here. We're talking about, you're giving me, like, if you're, okay, Nick Saban says it all the time, rat poison, right? You think that these kids at New Mexico don't feel fucking, I'm sorry to curse, disrespected that they are 13.5 point dogs at home against, I'm not shitting on Montana State, but come on, there is levels to this.
Right.
And I understand that the last time that, Bronco Mendenhall played an FCS program, he lost.
Yep.
I get that. But was it by 13.5 points?
It was, actually.
All right. I'm still, I can't do it.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I can't do it. I'm taking New Mexico plus 13.5.
Well, New Mexico's got a pretty mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
So I mean that certainly helps. Anytime you have a mobile, and it seems like a lot of college quarterbacks are pretty mobile. Okay, so fun fact: the last time that Bronco went to a rebuild type school, in Virginia, he kind of top of my head here. He finished like 2-10 or something like that. He started out playing Richmond, the Richmond with like the spider on it. FCS for football. I think they lost like 26-10 or something like that. Something along those lines. Of course, I mean that's just look, it's just a fun fact. Another one I had was I came by was that it doesn't happen often that an FCS team is favored versus an FBS team. However, when they're
Five times.
favorite,
5 times in history.
yeah.
I don't know how many of them covered.
So anyhow, it doesn't happen very often. I firmly believe that the top, I mean, shoot, Montana State could contend for it all. I mean, there got to be top 3, top 4, top 5. I firmly believe that the FCS top handful of teams are better than, I don't know if I dare say a third of the FBS, but I mean, I think in the spot that they're running and gunning, they're returning like the majority of their offense. I mean, if it not 11 starters, it's like 10. New Mexico is playing with like all transfer portal guys. This is this is not your Colorado transfer portal. This is not your father's transfer portal. So man, it's a tough game. I personally wouldn't play the 13.5. I'm on a side of, I like teasing it down to 6.5, winning by a touchdown. I like, utilizing the money line if that, depending on what you're doing. I think it's going to be, it's a game that you don't usually get to watch. You don't normally get to see a lot of FCS. So it's going to be
this
an
is a
intriguing
dog
game,
shit game. This is a dog shit game. Let's be honest. This is trash. We know it's trash, and we're going to watch it because it's the
second be there. It's the only game on.
Game of the year. They fed us absolute dog shit. They gave us a great game to start off with, and then they gave us absolute crap as the next meal.
Yep.
Let me say this. Dampier is going to be the quarterback. He threw 0 interceptions last year. Now he only threw for 525 yards, but he clearly knows how to take care of the ball. All right, when he did get in. They also have a 5'10", 200-pound running back who's a bowling ball of a man. I hope they run it down this FCS school's throat that can stop the run. We know they can do that. Look, you're giving me a dog at 13.5 at home? Disrespected? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, it makes sense. Like I said, too, I mean, this is certainly a game that I probably would not be interested in betting on if there was a slate of, 80 games on the page. We would have been into the 4 o'clock games by now, probably. All right, that being said, I loved last year betting on SMU. SMU was one of my favorite teams to bet on. I mean, you were getting spreads, 40, maybe higher. And they were just killing it. I think that SMU is gonna just absolutely destroy Nevada. There's a couple kind of fun props that I think that are kind of neat in this game. But Ty, 26.5, does it feel too tall, or do you lay them?
No. So it doesn't feel too tall, and essentially what it comes down to is how good the SMU defense is. They're one of the best defenses in the country. They just moved over to the ACC, and Nevada. Y'all ask me about NFL games right now. I don't know. I'm here. I don't know what's going on with it.
Make me look.
The SMU defense is really, really good. Now, the only thing that concerns me is I don't know that we even see Nevada score more than a touchdown. And what I'm looking to do with that game, specifically with the live bet, is I'm hoping SMU gets up 45-0. No, you're good, Bobby. I'm just messing with you. 45-0, and we get an opportunity, which is my favorite thing to do in college football. You get these teams blowing teams out. We know it happens every single week, right? And you just have to watch the line. Eventually, that line is going to dip below 7, and we're going to get a 6.5 or 5.5. And it's going to be the backups of this college football team going up against the starters. And they're just trying to get points on the board so they have something good to talk about next week, right? But I don't think it's too big. Just a little side note here. The Purdy family has probably the worst names for kids. If you didn't know, the backup quarterback for Nevada, his name is Chuba Purdy, and that is Brock Purdy's younger brother. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they aren't really sure. Jeff Choate, I believe is how you, or Choate, I don't know how you say his last name, isn't even sure who the starting quarterback is there. It could be Chuba. It could be the other kid's name, Brendan Lewis, I'm sorry. And Brendan Lewis is going to get the nod. So we'll see what it looks like. But if not, we could have a Purdy coming in the game to maybe save Nevada. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to be a runaway for SMU. Yeah, the Stallions, the Pony Express in 2024 all over again, 30 for 30.
I think, I think the best bet out of it, I think 26F. Yeah. I mean, I don't have it in front of me. I did a little bit of write up in the Discord on a play that I had given out, but in some of the, the games where SMU played last year in a should win situation, I mean, like boy, did they. I mean, they beat Prairie Heights 69-0. They beat like Tulsa 69-10. They dropped like a 50 burger on somebody, 50-0 type win. I mean, they were when they had a big spread and it was a going against a poor team, like they just killed them. I think they covered the 26.5. I think the better bet here is probably the SMU team total. And the reason that I like it is, Preston Stone last year, dude was slinging it. He ended up getting hurt. I think Kevin's his first name, Jennings last name. He came in, finished out, got him the championship, finished out the year, and he looks pretty good doing it. Coach turns around this year and names both quarterbacks captains. That's rough. I think it's hard. And at one point they're going to have to figure out who the captain is, who the quarterback is. But he's going on to say that both these guys are going to be playing. I highly doubt that it's going to be that they're splitting every other drive or anything like that. So I think SMU likely is up 3 touchdowns at halftime, if not more. Jennings comes in third quarter, plays the second half. He's not going to be in there hand the ball off. He's not in there, playing the run down the clock game. I think he's going to go in there and sling it. He's going to go out there to win, and he's going to drive down the field. And I think there's going to be a continuation of points because they have essentially a quarterback battle that Preston Stone, I think, is far the better quarterback here. However, this guy's going to continue to get his playing time. And I think he's going to want to utilize it, I think. So that's why, not to mention that SMU just hangs stupid points on him. Sitting at 41.5 last time I looked, I think it's a good spot.
So what you could do is you could also take a shutout at plus 1,000 on FanDuel.
That was one of the ones, the little joke props I was looking at.
Right. That's sitting there. And what you could do to, if you put a little bit on it, say it gets to 5.5, you could just throw that same little bit of money out there that you put on the plus 1,000, cover that hedge. If they hold them, great. You walk away with a bankroll. If they do score, you get your money back. But I love the first half here for them. I mean, it's set minus 14.5 for SMU. Preston Stone is going to be able to essentially do whatever he wants here offensively, but I think it's going to be methodical, and that's why I also like the under. I'm not sure that SMU is going to be scoring, 48 points to get this game, over 55. I think we see 7 to 10 points from Nevada if they're lucky with the 10. And SMU will score the rest. And I think the under here is also the play. But first half minus 14.5. As long as SMU can start hot, we know their defense is going to take care of Nevada, especially with them not knowing who the QB is. Yeah, I feel like that's free money right there. 17-0, 21-0 first half.
And that's just the best part about college football. When you got a minus 26.5 and you're contemplating the under because you're like, man, is the other team going to score? Are they going to be able to contribute or not? So like looking back and forth, I think another, Ty mentioned the shutout. I think, and you also mentioned, the taking it live. But I mean, you look at Nevada, they got a over under team total of 14.5. If you took that 14.5 pregame and then end up getting a 6.5, down the road, I mean, you had a chance to middle it. Although, of course, you have a chance to also, then only score a field goal or something like that. But I think that's there's some different ways to play it. And yeah, I mean, Leroy says here in the chat, they got a shutout tab for the game. Surprising. I thought I clicked on your thing. Surprising to see it. I had to go in there and listen, like, what is this? But Yeah, so the books are putting some respect on SMU.
Speaking about that tab, they're not putting enough respect because Hawaii versus Delaware State is our next game up, right? At 39.5, they're favored. The shutout tab there has them at plus 400.
I just saw that.
And I'm not taking it. Yeah. SMU's defense is so much better than Hawaii. I get they're playing Delaware State, but I mean, they're going to, I feel like a point at least is coming. 3. Like, there's just no way. And this game has me perplexed. I've taken Hawaii before on week 0 and got absolutely demolished 2 years ago. Now, I usually like Hawaii in a spot when they're the dog, right? Where teams are coming out to the island and weird shit happens. Moana's out there, just weird shit goes down. Okay. Yeah. A little shout out to Moana. But weird stuff goes on, and I'm not really sure what to take here. 39.5 points is a lot, especially we have to remember in college football, the clock continues to run now. It's not like it used to be where every first down and out of bounds, and clocks don't work like that anymore. Now, the first half spread is at 22.5. I feel like that, if Hawaii starts properly, 22.5 is totally capable. 24-0, 28-0 first half. 39.5, I got to stay away from, but I'm definitely taking something in this game. Hawaii total points. Let's see. DSU total points sitting at 7.5. That's quickly going to come down below 2.5, and I think I'm going to take that also. Delaware State's walking out of there with some points. I saw a video of them dancing in a hotel today. They're amped. They're excited to be there. They're ready to get their ass kicked. It's just, I don't know how much.
So I think it's funny. Delaware, they're FCS, right? They should be.
Yes.
So they're giving up on average last year 37 points per game. Pretty high. Only scoring 18. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you got a pretty big discrepancy there. Delaware State last year went 1-10, and they beat roughly like a mime college. You see those, they're shaving half their beard or whatever. They beat a D3 team. The only win they had was a D3 team. There's people talk about it. It's all over the internet. There's different ways to handicap things. Look, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't play a huge role, but I remember the Kansas game. I don't remember who they were playing, but they came out in all black uniforms. And I'm like, I don't even care. They were dogs, I think. I'm like, run it. Kansas is going to come out on hair on fire, just like Notre Dame wears all greens. I like to bet on those external things at times, not always. But I'm sure you've seen it. Delaware State missed the bus. Ty pointed out earlier that you don't take a bus to Hawaii. However, they missed the bus to the airport, and they didn't get there in time. So it's something to think about. It's probably nothing, but it takes time to acclimate when you're playing not overseas, but it's essentially a different time zone. I mean, it's Delaware State's all the way on the far right side of the U.S. for those of you that are unfamiliar, unless it's not in actual Delaware, But anyway, it's just a tall. I normally don't bet on Hawaii, so I really don't have an option. Although it's just I just look at what Delaware brings to the table, and it's already one of those they're already struggling. You're telling me y'all couldn't get a bus on time? You guys are gonna run a proper play action. You guys are gonna stop a blitz. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably forgot their uniforms at the school. Yeah. I mean, I like the first half here. It's really. I don't know. I really want to take Hawaii team total. It's sitting under, the key number of 48 at 47.5 currently. But you need Hawaii to really put up points. I think we're looking at probably a 35-0 first half. We might get starters for a little bit of the third quarter, and then it just might be backups from there on out. And then you're just hoping, God, please score, 3 more touchdowns.
That's wild that their team total is 47.5, and then SMU is at 41.5. The books are certainly putting more respect on Hawaii than they are SMU.
Well, I think they're putting less respect. I think they're putting less respect on Delaware State
Yeah.
right?
No, that's true.
Versus like
Right.
respect factor on Hawaii, or you added all this stuff in. Yeah, I think it comes down to yeah. I mean, Hawaii's not losing this game. It's just by how much.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's for sure. All right. Well, guys, now is the time. Those who are watching on Twitter, those who are watching on YouTube, if you have any questions, I mean, it was a quick, brief. We're at 30 minutes right now. I mean, I don't think that's too bad of a quick little thing. 9 o'clock. Those are either on the Eastern time zone or whatever. Generally, there's a little bit of a delay from what you guys see in the chat or whatever. But now's the time. If you had any additional questions, some oddball props and stuff like that. Sometimes that's harder. Like, oh, what do you think about this random receiver to get 35 yards? Like, I don't know unless I've actually, really, broke it down or whatever. But I think that I think we're in for a good day of football. It's exciting, like a noon game, a 4 o'clock, an 8 game, and a midnight game. You get to watch football literally all day outside of, we got some preseason games, going on right now. Paying attention to an under, which is the worst thing to do. You got to just bet it and forget it. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up. Bobby and Leroy, and honestly, I know you're a mod in the Discord. I don't know how to say your name.
It's D-Fish. Yeah, it's Fish.
But it doesn't look like we have any questions. Ty, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah. So Bobby asked me about the NFL, so we'll just knock this out. How do I feel about the under? I feel terrible currently. We're kind of in an odd spot that I had put myself now, because we're rooting for Miami +3. So I want them to score, but we also have the under. So here's the thing. We also have that parlay that we put in the collab play with Jordan and I. So we need them to get 175 passing yards. So if we lose, I don't know if you're on all of them, but if we give up the under to get the 175 plus passing yards, I think that'll certainly make up for it. Yeah, we know. I understand, Fish. I know. Yeah.
Like, the Jaguars currently just owning the Falcons. 28-0. I think you can cash.
Yeah, that was my free play of the day that went out to Twitter. That was easy. So yeah.
Yep. But I will say, these teams are just trying to get out of here. So you got Dolphins and Bucks. Hopefully you don't see many more points, or it's just the Dolphins to get some action going and the Bucks don't do anything. So certainly kind of see how that goes. But appreciate you guys. Like I said, next, Ty, real quick, I just had a note of one thing I didn't talk about. Did you see that the MAC announced that they they have to give out injury news before the game?
Yeah, I think I think this is the first conference to fall.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly,
yep.
It's for the last 2 years, it's been ridiculous. We're making financial decisions essentially, right? Like we're betting money. So we should be able to track down the best information to make the best decision in our opinion. And we can't do that when I'm finding out, the same time that we're getting kickoff that Jameson Winston, isn't playing because the guy stole. I mean, we knew that one, but I'm just giving you an example. Like,
right, no, for sure, right. Or he failed.
I need to know who's out, who isn't. It affects the game. It affects lines. It affects everything. So when you see things, you're like, well, this line doesn't make any sense. You're like, well, shit, the quarterback's out. That makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Ty, have you ever?
I think it's the first conference to fall. If I ever DM'd the random beat writer, have you? No.
Yeah. Hey, what do you know? Like, is he on the field? What do you know? What's going on, man? You're there. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. No, I haven't gotten that. I haven't gone that far.
I have. I'm not ashamed. I haven't DM'd like Kevin Durant when he doesn't make a last second three or anything like that. I don't get.
I've considered that. I've considered that.
Yeah, I'm not that guy because Kevin Durant will respond to you.
Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, guys, we appreciate you joining. We're gonna close it out here in a second. Final remarks. Appreciate Ty. Coming here along. Me and Ty's gonna be here. Man, a while. Gosh, 5 months realistically. So we'll be doing this here for a while. Friday nights. Who knows when we get some Friday night action if we don't have like a quick show to kind of put something together. We're about 35 minutes right now. I think now is going to be a good goal, maybe up to 45. If we have some really good interaction, who knows if it goes longer. But there's going to be some weeks where there's some really good games. There's going to be some weeks where there's not really good games, and we'll kind of bring to the table, and we'll kind of have a recap at the end to be able to show you a screen and all that, But appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Very lastly, a lot of people talked about the Discord. A lot of people talked about some of the play, some of the success. Going along the bottom, you got CFB25 to save 25% off your first 2 weeks, or code NFL35 to save 35% off your first month. Both of those links are in the description. Check that out. Appreciate you guys. We're going to close it out. We will, Ty, are you streaming officially tomorrow for some of these games?
Yeah, I'm gonna be down here at 9 a.m. I'm gonna have a good buddy of mine with me, and we're gonna try and just be two dudes just kicking it, watching the game, and then I'm gonna have guests on from the Discord all throughout the day. I think D-Rock will potentially be with me for the Hawaii game. I think he's the only other psychopath that's willing to watch that game.
Yeah, probably. I'll be asleep. So if you guys aren't following us on Twitter, mine's at LiveJoeBets. Ty is at
Ty the football guy. The 1L.
Yeah. But then follow us on Playback. That's where that's going to be more than likely. And then we'll, Ty, we'll talk about that later. But appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys back. Share it, like it, retweet it, subscribe it, whatever it is to help us grow. We appreciate you guys. And in return, we will continue to make you guys as much money as we possibly can. And we will see you guys back next week.